My name is Susan. Welcome. We're going to get started right away as we have a lot to cover. Like I said, my name is Susan Citrone Waisaki. I'm a HowMoneyWorks educator, and I've been working with this company for the past, I would say 10, 15 years, seriously. As a nurse by profession, I've learned a lot, not only to how to make money, but to save money and change the direction, the trajectory for my family, thanks to this company. I'm very pleased to announce tonight and introduce our special guest and presenter, Shantae Moore. Shantae has been in the financial services industry for over 15 years. She's worked at many large investment companies before coming to us. And in the last 10 years, she's been with us in her career as a certified financial educator, an investment advisor, and representative. One of our senior leaders at our firm at Oak Brook's Learning Center. You're all in for a special treat tonight and special message from Shantae. Shantae, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Susan. I appreciate that. And welcome, everyone. I'm super excited for tonight's presentation. I'm actually going to go ahead and get started because we do have a lot to cover. I'm very proud to work with this company. As Susan mentioned, I've been here for over 10 years. And a big part of that is because, working at other large investment firms, one thing that I saw was that they weren't helping folks like me. And so I'm this brown-skinned girl from the south side of Chicago. And I was told constantly, talk to people who have $250,000 or more in assets. Those are the ideal clients that we want to help. And I was like, how am I going to do that? I don't know anyone with that type of money or wealth. My family was very poor. We didn't have money. And it was challenging. It was disheartening because essentially I was working in an industry that wasn't built to serve me and people like me and my family, basically the average North American. So someone tapped me on my shoulder and said, come take a look at this company. And what I saw was a message similar to what you're going to hear tonight. And I've been here ever since. I planted my flag and super proud of the work that we do. So I'm going to share my screen. Just bear with me. I have quite a few slides to go through. Like I said, I want to share as much information as possible. And I just want to encourage you that, we have many folks who contributed to tonight's presentation. So if you have any questions about anything, so although my name and phone number is on the bottom of the slide there, I actually want you to contact the person who invited you, and they will be the ones to point you in the direction of any resources that you might be looking for or some assistance. I'll share at the end a little bit about some of the resources that we offer to any individual that we're connected to. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's talk about money. It's Women's History Month. And as women, we wanted to do this presentation because women, we have unique financial situations. We serve as the primary breadwinner in 40% of our households. We own 30% of private businesses. 52% of women statistically hold management, professional, and related positions. And 57% of us earn college degrees. So we're very well educated. And then by 2030, did you know that women are expected to control $30 trillion of assets in the US? I think that's a lot of money. We need to know how money works because we have to be educated to control that type of money. And it seems like while women are getting ahead, while we're accomplishing so much, a lot of women don't feel empowered. They're really concerned about their financial futures. And we want to overcome that. Why is that? Well, there's plenty of reason. First of all, women earn 82 cents for every dollar that's earned by a man. And most would say, they call that the wage gap. And I would say, to be fair, I don't think most companies, for the most part, they're catching up to make sure that women have equal pay. But the main reason why we have this lower amount of income that we're earning is because women, we're the ones to step away. We're the ones to take off work, to take care of our children, our partners, our parents. I would say that's certainly true for myself. I'm a single mother of 3 children, actually a divorced mother of 3 children. But, it was I was the one who said, okay, when I was married, I'm going to stay home. I'm going to go pick up the kids from school. I'm the one who's going to, essentially, I was the one who was stepping away from the workplace, reducing my hours, when I was in a corporate position and taking care of these things. How often are we taking care of our partners or our parents? Especially if you're a Gen Xer, we call that the sandwich generation. You're probably taking care of your parents and your aging children. And so all these interruptions greatly affect our finances. We don't realize how much they actually affect us, but they do. So over a lifetime, because of those interruptions, women will earn almost $500,000 less than women. And we end up spending 12 fewer years in the workforce. How many women do you know that were maybe right out of college, they started working in their careers and then decided to become a stay-at-home mom, which is an absolute best career that someone can make a choice for as well. But then ultimately, we earn lower lifetime earnings over time as well because of that time spent away from working and earning funds. So how does that affect us in the future? So, if I'm in my 30s or 40s now, and I'm starting to take that time away in the future, when women start to go into retirement, women tend to receive 80% of what retired men will receive in Social Security benefits. It's very simple. If you are not working and you're working less, you're not qualifying with a higher income. Social Security is based on your income and how long you've been working. So statistically, that will show that we're actually earning less when it comes to Social Security benefits. And then another big factor that we have to consider as women are long-term care. Long-term care, a lot of people, when they hear the term long-term care, they automatically think that refers to, senior citizens or being in a nursing home. And that's totally not the case. 70% of people over age 65 will need some type of long-term care services. Long-term care needs are when you can't perform 2 of the 6 daily living activities. So think of what does it take you to do to get out the bed every morning? You have to get up, you have to get out the bed, tend to go to the bathroom. We have to feed ourselves. We have to dress ourselves. We have to move around. Those are daily living activities. And if you can't perform 2 of those 6 daily living activities, then you actually qualify for long-term care. And that could be at any age, technically, for someone. We also live longer than men. It's interesting, women, we tend to outlive our partners. So if our partners are, ultimately leaving us sooner, how do we take care of ourselves financially when we can expect to probably live another 7 to 10 years or even longer, considering that we do outlive our partners? So therefore, we need more long-term care than men, but we're actually less able to afford long-term care. Just to have, a single room in a nursing home is like $43,000 or $48,000. Very expensive. So according to a recent retirement literacy survey, 89% of women are not literate about retirement. And I would say a lot of folks, they think retirement just comes. It can just happen for you. I turned 65, now I can retire. Not how it works. If you had enough money today, you would retire right now. But 43% of women are not comfortable with investment risk due to the COVID-19 crisis, and I'll talk a little bit about that as well. 70% of women are concerned about having guaranteed retirement income, and they should be concerned. Like I talked about, if Social Security is considered to be guaranteed, but if you're not qualifying for as much, would it be enough? And 73% do not have any type of plan to fund long-term care needs. So again, things that we need to pay attention to, that often women, we have to talk about these things and get guidance on these things. So when we think about these harrowing statistics, we as women tend to shrink our retirement dreams. I've even seen some women give up entirely. And that's unfortunate. And I love being able to connect with women and work with them one-on-one to give them that hope to say, you know what, things can change and we can make better financial decisions. So we can change the trajectory of what we can offer for our families, like Susan mentioned earlier. And just think about, what are your retirement dreams? Do you think that you'll actually be able to retire? Or do we have to reconfigure, you having to go back to work? And that's a very real reality for a lot of folks, where they retire too early, or they retire and find out that they don't have enough money to stay retired. So we want to help folks avoid that, right? Or what if we could imagine dreaming of retirement, a time of traveling? I know a lot of folks who want to spend time with their grandchildren, taking care of their family, or even pursuing different hobbies, volunteering. I always think of what is your passion? What is your heart work? I call it. What's your heart work? What makes you happy that you could think of pursuing? Maybe even starting a business. A lot of folks say, you know what, I just want to earn money on my terms in the way that I want to do it. And that's where we come in. We wanted to have this conversation for women because we need to start having questions about money. We really do. I think sometimes in this day and age, it's taboo to talk about money. I don't think so. I think we need to have open and honest conversations about our finances, and we need to start asking questions. And beyond just asking questions, if you are working with a financial professional and they give you some long, convoluted answer that you do not understand, you need to demand that they explain it to you in very, very simple terms. So we need to ask the questions and make sure we understand the answers that are given to us. And that's where our company comes in. How Money Works. We have a book that we share with a lot of folks. It's called How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker, because we found that we need to create our own education system. I'll share a little bit about that. And we need to learn. We need to learn how money works. We need to learn basic financial concepts, which I'll actually share with you in a little bit. Just talking about the power of compound interest. I'll show you an example of that. The time value of money. And my favorite financial concept, the rule of 72. We need to talk about these things. With our company, we use a 7 money milestone approach. We call this the roadmap to financial security and independence. And I want to take some time and kind of explain this slide and how do we do that? Because often when we're working with women, a lot of women that I sit down with, and they say, Shantae, I want to do better with my money. Most women aren't like overspending or just doing crazy things. We might overspend a little bit on our kids. I know I do. But most folks say, you know what, I want to do better. I just don't know where to start. I don't know what I need to do. Maybe I think that, I need to plan for retirement, but there's so many other things. So our company, we use the 7 money milestone approach to guide people through a financial planning, to think about their finances holistically. We don't look at just one area. We go through all these 7 money milestones. One is getting a financial education, which, we'll talk about a lot tonight. Milestone number 2 is having proper protection. That's all things insurance, life insurance, health insurance, long-term care insurance, like I talked about, disability insurance for your income. Milestone number 3 is having an emergency fund. I think any financial professional will tell you, you need 3 to 6 months of your income saved, especially right now. As you can imagine, what our economy, what we're experiencing, we are headed into a recession sometime this year. We don't know how big that'll be or what that will look like. Now is a time where you really want to take a step back, sit on the sidelines a little bit and build up your reserves. And that's where that milestone number 3 comes in, with having a strong emergency fund. Milestone number 4 is debt management. If debt is a concern or an issue, let's put a plan into place to pay it down. Milestone number 5 is cash flow. Sometimes, to be honest, we just need a little extra money in our pockets. I can always do with a little extra couple $100s or a couple thousands of dollars. We really need to look at our expenses and see how can we cut back. But also, the question to ask, do I just need to take on something to where I can bring in additional income for myself? whether that's a starting a new business or a side gig. Some folks maybe consider, part-time income and working another job. Often that's the biggest hurdle, is that we just need more money to come in to help us. Milestone number 6 is building wealth. I'll share a little bit about taxes. I always tell people, you could build all the money in the world, you could save all the money in the world, but our favorite Uncle Sam will determine how much of it you can actually keep. And that matters by the types of accounts you choose. So I'll show you a little bit about that in a second. But also when it comes to building our wealth, we also want to make sure that our finances and savings are secure to a position where we won't run out of money in retirement. We had a survey done a few years ago when seniors were asked, what's their biggest fear? They said, I'm scared of running out of money, more so than actually dying. And that's a very real reality. And that's something that we help our clients address. Milestone number 7 is protecting your wealth. This is where we look at having proper documentation in place, like a will or a trust, power of attorney documents. How do we protect our legacy? I always tell folks, if you spend all this time to make the right financial decisions, to pay off your debt, to build your emergency fund, to invest the right way and wisely and strategically, the last thing that you do not want to do is actually put proper documents in place so that your assets transfer to who you want them to transfer to when you're no longer here. But also in situations where you're still alive, when you can't make decisions for yourself, how can we have the right documents in place to have those decisions ready for us? So then we need to talk about saving, and investing money, making sure that we plan for our financial goals. A lot of times we actually are better savers than men. We actually save a lot of money, but women tend to be very much so more conservative when it comes to their savings. We don't invest it. So we'll save it in some place very safe where it doesn't really grow. We don't typically take that step to invest it, again, because we don't know better. There's a fear with investing. So we tend to invest up to 40% less than men. So they get ahead of us when it comes to building wealth. And one thing that we know is that we need to work with financial professionals. First of all, I'm so blessed that I've been able to be in this industry for so long, to learn the information that I've been able to learn, but then to also share with others that same education. I always tell folks, don't do this alone. I'm so happy to see all of you here on the webinar, because that tells me that you care, that you're concerned about your finances, that you're wanting to make sure you make the right financial decisions. If you're not already working with a financial professional, maybe that's a resource that we can provide you here. But as women, we really need, especially having female financial professionals to work with, who will listen to us. Because we're not all the same. A lot of times people put women in the same category. We're not all the same. We all have very different financial situations. So you want someone who will not only listen to you, but will educate you, inform you, and also collaborate with you. They're elbow to elbow, locked in arms with you, helping guide you through different financial stages of your life. Because one thing we know statistically, that 54% of married women, let's say you do have a partner out there, 54% of married women tend to defer to their spouse for, managing the family's financial planning decisions. And I won't say that that's necessarily a bad thing, but I believe that women, we should be at the conversation, we should be on the table, and hopefully you and your partner have an advisor, a professional working with you both, who's not just working with him, who's engaging you as well. Because again, you see my next statistic here, 61% of women feel that they are misunderstood by financial advisors. Oftentimes, again, the financial advisor won't even look at you. They'll only look at the husband or the partner. We want to make sure that you know how to step into that room and say, hey, I'm here too. You need to talk to me as well. And you need to explain things in simple terms so that I understand what's going on. Because what happens, what if your partner is no longer here? And we see this situation a lot when the woman is not engaged in the planning and she has no clue what's happening with the finances. 70% of women will end up leaving their financial advisor upon the death of their spouse. because that advisor never made the relationship with them. They never talked to that woman, and included her in the process. And that number is actually higher after divorce. Probably like, oh, that advisor was working with my ex-husband. I don't want him managing any of my money. And that's a real reality. And so the main thing is to understand is that we're not all the same. We all have different goals, and you should work with an advisor who understands that, because women, when we look at our finances, we typically see money as a means to an end and not the end itself. So I want to transition a little bit. Let me just share a little bit about how we help women. Because at our company, WealthWave, which is a HowMoneyWorks company, we are committed to no woman being left behind when it comes to their finances. We want all women to be educated. And like I said, the first thing that we really need to do is we need to start having conversations about money. And I'm talking about real nitty gritty conversations and looking at the reality of what we're dealing with when it comes to our finances. And we need to start asking questions, like I talked about, questions, again, getting those answers, but how do I protect my family, if something happens to me? Like we talked a little bit about long-term care. Do I need to worry about that? How do I maximize taxes? How do I minimize my taxes, in retirement? And again, don't accept a lot of financial jargon. You want to insist on answers that you can understand. And we need to learn how money works. Again, I want to just share a little bit more about our education platform, because I think it's super important about the work that we have and the resources that we share, because, these resources are pretty awesome. I've been in the financial services industry, like I said, for over 15 years. And this book, the How Money Works book, the most amazing resource that we have here. So again, our company is called WealthWave. We are the How Money Works company. And our mission is to stamp out financial literacy so families can enjoy a work optional lifestyle, where work is actually an option. And we realize that, when it comes to financial education, it's not being taught in schools. Trust me, our company founders looked everywhere, and we didn't find any real education system that was really educating people about money. So we created our own. We created our own system that we wanted to make it simple, engaging, and life-changing. And that's how our book was developed, the How Money Works Stop Being a Sucker book. It's written by Tom Matthews and Steve Siebold. These are some great guys who have been on a bunch of major TV shows. They've been on ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, CNBC, others, like almost 300 TV media appearances. But I really like this book because it's super simple. It's got a lot of pictures and it's a super easy read. It's not written for economists or for scholars. So if you're looking for something super technical, this is not that book. It's written for the rest of us. It's written for the average person who just really needs a straightforward guide to take control of their personal finances. And I promise you, I tell anyone, if you read this book from cover to cover, if you spend an hour reading it, which is about how long it'll take, you'll know more about money than 99% of the population in America. I can guarantee you that. And most importantly, you'll actually never look at money the same way once you have this. So if you do not yet have a copy of this book, actually go and talk to the person who invited you, and they'll be able to get you a copy of that book so that you can learn. And actually, I'll show you a sneak peek because I'm super excited about this. So for all of the women on our presentation tonight, this is what we have coming up. And later this year, not yet. Hope you guys can see this. So this is our new book that's coming out soon. Like I said, we hope to have it by early summer, late spring, early summer. It's called How Money Works for Women. Take control or lose it. Because if you don't control your money, it will control you. This is written by co-author Sharon Lecter and Kim Schooler. Kim Schooler, an amazing financial professional in our company. She's been president of our broker-dealer, a lawyer by profession. And you all probably may not, a lot of folks, some folks know Sharon Lecter or not. If you're familiar with the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, written by Robert Kiyosaki, he actually, Sharon Lecter actually co-authored that book with Robert Kiyosaki. A lot of people don't know that. I normally have an image of that book with her name on it. She helped Robert Kiyosaki write that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And so she partnered with our company. And, she loved our message, our education. And she said, you know what, I want to help you all talk to women. I want to help you all, tell these stories to women because they need to know. So we're super excited about that book. The person who invited you, they will have access to it. So we don't have it just yet. We'll have access to it, hopefully in a couple of months coming here later this year. So moving on to learning about money. Again, we need to apply the 7 money miles, the 7 money milestones, that I shared about earlier. I just want to talk about it again because it's so important, because when you understand and pay attention to all these things that make up your entire financial picture, that's when you really have the power to take control over your financial future. And I always tell folks, like, look, right now, this is the best time to start. A lot of people say, well, maybe I should pay off my debt first and then I'll start saving more money. Or maybe I should wait till, my children come back, from school or they go off to school and they graduate, and then I'll, have money available to take care of my own finances, or I don't know. There's always something, right? And I would tell you, there will never be a position where it's always a perfect time. You just want to get started. And we teach financial literacy workshops completely based on these money milestones. So again, stay connected with us because we'll be happy to share these resources. So I want to share with you all my favorite financial concept. It's called the Rule of 72. It's in the book. It's actually, I think, on page 84 in the book. And I'll tell you, I've studied accounting. I've studied finance. I have my MBA. And, so you would think I would have learned about money, in my education, right? My formal education. I never learned about the Rule of 72. So I found it super interesting. Once I was, page 72. Thank you for that, Michael. So yeah, Rule of 72 on page 72 in the How Money Works book. But I found it interesting, like, how did they not teach this to us? So let me talk to you about the Rule of 72. So I believe it's probably one of the most foundational and powerful money concept of them all. It's super simple. And it's basically a mental math shortcut to help you figure out how long it will take for your money to double, whether you're actually saving it or you're borrowing it. And all you do is you take the interest rate on that money that you're earning, or again, that you're borrowing. You take that interest rate and simply divide it into the number 72. And then what happens is that you'll see is that the higher the interest rate, the quicker that money will actually double. So as you can see in the example here, if you have money in an account that's earning a 1% rate of return, how long will it take for your money to double? I mean, yeah, too long, 72 years. And it's interesting, a lot of people have money saved in accounts earning 1% interest or much less. But what if you were actually, financially educated and you knew how to access the accounts that could probably give you higher interest, 7 or 12%. Now, these are hypothetical examples, nothing's guaranteed here, but hypothetically, let's say we earn 12%. Now your money doubles every 6 years. And that's a big difference when it comes to being able to grow our money, right? But again, that applies to our debt as well. But, a lot of times, I talked about we don't need to wait. We should take action right away. This is an example of if you wanted to just save $1 million, right? Because everybody's like, I would love to be a millionaire. I would be happy. I'd be satisfied. Well, let's see what that would take. How much money do you think you need to save to have $1 million by the time that you turn age 67? In this chart, on our example, we're assuming that someone's earning, 9% average annual interest rate that's compounding monthly. So we teach about compound interest, which is basically your money growing on top of itself. Based on its retirement, on reaching a retirement age of 67. But just look at it, find your age. How old are you right about now? How much money would you need to save every single month? If you were 20 years old, hopefully maybe you're a young woman on this, or you have a young adult, woman in your life who you feel that needs to know this information. A 20-year-old only needs to save $113 a month, because they have time. They have 47 years to accumulate, that $1 million. But what if you're 40, close to 40? Now that jumps to $731 per month. What if you're 60? That long red bar at the bottom. You would have to save $8,589 every single month. And obviously that's not doable. I mean, I think that's most folks are nowhere near in a lot of these positions to save that type of money. But we just wanted to give you a visual of this is how serious it can be. And this is why we teach people another financial concept called the time value of money. Truly, truly, every single day counts. Do not wait. I think one of the biggest mistakes is that a lot of folks wait thinking, I'll just wait until, whatever that perfect time is in their life. And that's not the case. That's not, unfortunately, how it works. So getting back to share about, the 7 money milestones, we also need to save and invest more money, because if you save, just $10 a day, you would have roughly $300 saved by the end of the month. But what if you, needed to start smaller? That's totally fine as well. We work with folks on any end of the spectrum. If you just needed to save $5 a day by the end of the month, then you roughly have about $150 saved. And we have to just start taking these small steps. So we need to start right away. We just need to start taking the small steps to get us there to where we need to be, in retirement. We need to start planning for our financial goals. We spend more time planning a party or a vacation than we do planning for our financial future. I would say first, identify what is it that you want for yourself? What is it that you want for yourself and your family? Because my definition of things that I want in life will probably be much different from what your definition might be, and those are things that we want you to think about. What do you want for yourself? And then when you identify those goals, then you can actually start putting things in place that you need to do to reach those goals. I always tell folks, they always tell me like, well, Shantae, I'm thinking about, I just want to put an extra $1,000 in the stock market. And I'm like, what for? Like, what's the goal? What's the end game here? What are we doing this for? Because you really want to have a time put to that goal. And then also, and the reason being is because a professional will be also able to help you choose the right financial product or service that you need to actually reach that goal. So I want to talk about 2 strategies real quickly to just share about how, we educate folks about this particular step about, saving and investing money. So first thing we talk to folks about is taxes. Like I said, when I'm educating individuals about saving and putting their money in different accounts, I always want them to understand, how much can they actually keep? Because the type of account you choose will actually determine the money you keep because of taxes. There are 3 ways that your money can be taxed. You have your tax now accounts, which are, pretty much anything at the bank, I would say like a CD, savings accounts, interest accounts. Then you have your tax later monies. This would be, like with a 401k or a regular IRA, an individual retirement account, where those monies are positioned, so that as the money grows and invests, you don't pay taxes, you actually pay them later. But what if we could position monies into a tax never position? And I always tell folks, yes, there's a legal way to save and invest and grow your money without having to pay taxes, as long as you follow the rules. And which do you think would actually be preferred? A lot of folks say, I want to grow my money in a position where I don't have to pay taxes on it. And another way to think about this is just imagine you're a farmer. Would you want to be taxed on just a couple bags of the seeds that you plant in the ground and that's it? You never have to pay taxes again. Or do you want to have to pay taxes on your entire harvest as it grows and you now have accumulated all this big harvest and then now you have to pay taxes on that amount? And that's the difference, when it comes to saving and investing your money, because how we're taxed is differently. And we really want you to understand it. You have to think ahead. You want to create a tax never strategy. Is that something that you even have in your portfolio? This is something that we share with a lot of our clients in our classes. This is a particular, I want to share with you two strategies that we teach individuals about, that we help our clients when we think about what can they do? What opportunities are out there to make sure that their finances be stabilized? And this first one, it has a very specific and advantageous set of features, and it fits into that tax never category that I just talked about. And we call it the tax never income strategy, or TENIS, TENIS for short. With this strategy, your money, it has the potential to grow when the market goes up, but it's shielded when the market drops, because didn't we see a lot of that market volatility last year? Like if you had any type of investments or any type of account tied to the stock market, you saw it go up and down a lot last year. So with this type of strategy, even if the market goes down, you don't have to worry about that. It's right. In other words, you lock in all the gains, but you have zero downside risk, which is awesome. Your money grows tax-free, and you can withdraw that money tax-free as well and use it for income later in life as well. And it also provides creditor protection in some states. So it's just a way to leave a tax-free legacy to your family. So again, this is something that we help a lot of folks implement for their financial strategies, to teach them about, having something in that tax never bucket. It's a real cornerstone of your financial roadmap, and talk to whoever invited you. This might be something that they can share with you. Now, another strategy that I want to talk about is something more so related to retirement, because the one concern, again, that I mentioned that a lot of folks have is running out of money in retirement. And this strategy will keep you from never running out of money. You can't outlive this money. And statistically, we know that's important. Like I talked about, people ages 50 or older, when they take a major loss on their portfolio, they actually have a 50% higher chance of dying in the next 20 years than people who don't. Like, that's a crazy statistics, but it's a reality. And then why do you think that is? Imagine, oh my goodness, it's like 2008 again. You're getting ready to retire, market's going haywire, and you just lost half of your 401k balance. That happened to a lot of people. Guess what? They weren't retiring no longer. They're probably still working right now. Unfortunately, this statistic is the reality, is because if folks lose that amount of money right before retirement, we see that they're stressed, they're depressed, or they don't have enough money, for proper medical care or quality nutrition. And that's a tragic pandemic, and it's not viral. It's not anything but financial. It's just for financial reasons. So, and if you've ever been stressed about money, this is something you will probably understand. And so the good news is there's still quite a bit of people out there who saved a lot of money. I think something the last 2 years has forced us to do is to just be, more stringent savers. We're like hoarding a lot of our money. And, we see that about 42% of people at age 60 and over, they have about $40 million or more saved for retirement. And there are people who have all type of income levels and need help. But those individuals, maybe you have just like a large lump sum amount of money sitting around. This next strategy will probably be something that you might want to consider or learn about. So the question we want to ask ourselves is, how do we avoid running out of money, but also taking away the stress of, losing money potentially while we're in retirement? Because, maybe you've got money in a 401k or an IRA or invested in the stock market and mutual funds, or who knows, I'm not here to know what your portfolio may or may not be, but what's the one good thing about the market, right? Like, what's the one thing that we could take advantage of? And for the most part, is that you have some upside potential. that there's an opportunity for you to actually make a lot of money. But the bad news is that you can also lose a lot of money. In fact, you could lose everything. And I had we just see so many type of people. You don't want to be in retirement and having, risky positions or risky investments, or you might not even know they're risky, and then they lose. And then now we don't have the ability to make that money back up. And in your later years, you actually want to aim for stability. You don't want to have that riskiness of could it go up, could it go down? You want to have a nice, even level of stability. You want to look for something that's safe, that's smart, but that's also a secure retirement strategy that you can depend on, in your later years of life. And so here's a potential solution that we share, for millions of Americans. We call it the Reliable Income Strategy, or RISE. And with this RISE strategy, when the market goes up, you have the ability to participate in that upside potential and grow your account and grow your monies. But when the market drops, some of these strategies actually give you guaranteed growth. Even when the market is negative or dropping, in our example here, there's a potential to have 5% guaranteed growth for reliable income. And that's where we talk about protecting your future income. So when the market is up, your account can grow and you can lock in those gains. But when the market goes down and it tanks, it goes negative, you can get at least 5% growth for future income. And that's an amazing strategy that a lot of people don't realize is available to them. I'm sure you could probably think, if not for yourself, maybe others who could benefit from this. I would say, though, people in their 20s and 30s, this isn't necessarily a strategy that we would, talk to them about. And, it depends on the situation. But I would say for the 140 million baby boomers, you Gen Xers out there, especially if you do not have a pension through the workplace, this RISE strategy could be a real game changer for you. It could be what we call a financial rescuer package. And is this a strategy that you have in your current portfolio? If not, talk to the person who invited you, and again, see if this is something that, they might be interested in sharing with you. So let me get back to our other slides there. So as we talk about strategies, I also just want to share, we need to think about careers. Women, like I talked about, we need to consider careers that pay the same amount of money to women and men equally, but also with a company that won't penalize us for time spent taking care of our loved ones. I remember when I was working in the corporate world, I'll tell you guys this quick short story. At the time, I had 3 children. My oldest at the time was only 5 years old. She was in kindergarten. And I'm at my cubicle at my desk doing my work, and I get a phone call from her school telling me that my daughter fell off the monkey bars during recess and she broke her wrist, and they were literally in the ambulance taking her to the hospital. And I remember having to, obviously I'm shook, and my daughter has never been hurt like that in any kind of way. Even if it's a broken wrist, so what? I want to be by my baby right then, right there. And I remember dreading talking to my supervisor and walking into, it was a male at that time, walking into his office to say, I need to go. I need to take the train home. I need to get to the hospital with my baby. And I remember him looking up at me and saying, well, Shantae, make sure you finish that report before you leave. And I remember that was it. That was the last time I said, you know what? I'm done. I can't do this corporate, because when we're in corporate spaces like that, it's, yes, I would say most employers are, lenient. They favor families. But that was it for me. I said, you know what? I will never, ever have to walk in someone's office and ask, can I be at home with my children? Can I be there for them when I need to be? And that's a big reason why I do the work that I do, because I have complete control over my time. If I want to take a day off, I can. If my kids get sick from school, hey, I'm there to pick them up right away. If I want to go on a field trip, I'm there. And I'm really taking the time to talk about this because, like I said, a lot of us women, we just need more income in our lives, and I encourage you again to work with companies who value you as a woman and what you bring, a place where we're paid the same as men for our same amount of work. What would you do if you had control over your time? For me, that's the biggest thing. Like, I don't care if someone's offering me $250,000 salary. I won't have control of my time. And as a mom, I need to be there for my kids. I take them to school every single day. I pick them up from school every single day. And I can't imagine it any other way. So having that control of my time is super important to me. Would you be there for your children or your parents, whenever that you wanted to be with them? Would you pursue a hobby or volunteer or do something at your favorite charity? It's not just about family and kids, or would you just spend time for yourself for a change? I think it's so interesting that with, the post-COVID world, we all get used to working from home, right? It's like now employers are like, come back into the office. Like, why? I could perfectly do my job from home. Why do I need to go back into the office? And I know a lot of folks, have that reality. So I love being with a company where not only do I make the same amount of money, as any man that I sit next with, all of our male allies, but I have complete control over my time. And I'll tell you one thing, if we keep playing by the same rules, nothing will change. You could have came on here on this webinar and was like, oh, that was some really great information. I learned a lot, but if you don't do anything, what will actually really change? And our company at WealthWave, we are making our own rules. We're making our own rules for women financial professionals who work with us, like Susan and many other women financial HowMoneyWorks educators who are on this webinar. But we're also helping make our own rules for women and the clients, that we work with. And, ladies, I'll tell you, we've made a lot of progress in pursuing higher education and professional careers, but we've made very small progress when it comes to our finances, and again, although that gender pay gap is not as big as it was back in 1980, it still hasn't really changed over the last 15 years or so. And if you really want to bring about profound change, we have to make it happen. There's always a saying, you can't be what you can't see, which may explain partly why there really aren't enough, women financial professionals. But if you look around this meeting, if you see all the participant names here, a lot of them are women, and here women are welcome. Women are equal at WealthWave, at our company here, women can actually succeed. And if this is something that you might be interested in, I just want to put it out there to folks who are open to opportunities. If you want to learn and teach others how money works, share simple information like I did here, just know that there's an opportunity here at our company, where you can join the growing ranks of women and financial educators and professionals that work with us. We earn $1 for every single dollar that's earned by a man. And I think that's super important. I think that, again, when you're talking about where can I succeed? Where can I actually, do well? This is it. This is it for sure. So I want to finish, just kind of come down to the last few minutes to share how can you engage with us? How can you work with us? So there's really 3 options that we have available when it comes to succeeding here at our company. So the first is, maybe you're like, what, Shantae? I like a lot of those concepts. I might need some financial guidance. We welcome you to become a client of ours. We hope that you would entrust us. We have the pleasure of working with you and helping you and providing financial guidance. And that person who invited you will be the first point of contact for you. Even though my name and number is on the screen, again, that person who invited you is a person that you want to actually go to for help. Many people who saw those tax never strategies, like the reliable income strategy, or that tax never strategy, they want that for themselves. If that's something that you're maybe interested in, or just maybe going through the 7 money milestones, talk to that person who invited you, and they'll be happy to share the resources that we have to assist you with those things. Now, the second option is, maybe you're like, I want to take it a step further. Maybe you're interested in learning more about our company. You have an opportunity to join us, part-time. One thing I love about our company is that you don't have to have a financial background, no specific no education level. If you have a heart and a passion to teach and help others about their finances, we would love for you to consider our company. Again, that person who invited you, we have to share what that looks like. And that's how most people begin, myself included. We're not telling you to quit your job. I don't want you quitting your job at all. Keep your current job, work with us on the side, and maybe there's opportunity for you to earn money. Who knows? At the minimum, you'll get a whole lot of financial education, that's for sure. So for me, that's a very simple decision. And then maybe you'll turn it to someone like me where I was like, you know what, this is it. I'm planting my flag here. I'm going to make this a career. And I really want to consider this as a full-time opportunity. That's something we're happy to consider for anyone here as well. So I just want you to know that we have those resources. We want to help folks and, help you get to a position where you can be satisfied. So I will end this webinar. First, I want to thank everyone for joining us. I'm so proud. I was 5 minutes early, but we truly do not want any woman left behind. We want you to be confident with your finances, to be motivated, to be that change person in your family. I thank God that someone introduced me to this company and said, Shantae, come and take a look at what we're doing here. So we're going to end early. Again, go and talk to that person who invited you, and you all have a good evening. Thank you so much for joining us.